Hey, thanks for stopping by. You're not going to believe who's on the news right now. Yep, it's Mr. Windows himself, Mr. Office 365, Bill Gates. That's right. Before I go into what he's actually on the news for, I think I should actually tell you how I feel about Bill Gates myself. Bill Gates, I don't know if it's just only me. I definitely feel this way. But like with Bill Gates, I get an uncomfortable feeling about him. Something strange, something just off about him. It's one of those things where you don't understand it, where you can't really explain it, but there's just something off about him. It's kind of like one of those things like if you just walk into a crack house, you realize like, oh, this is not a nurturing environment. Like there's drug paraphernalia everywhere. The place is unkempt, and like everybody's strung out. That's the same way I feel about Bill Gates. I'm not saying he's a drug addict, but a crack addict, but I get that feeling where it's like just something that feels off about him. So whenever he invests in research or education, a part of me doesn't. I don't believe it that he's doing that just because he wants to help improve other people's lives. I believe there's an alternative motive to his philanthropy. That's just my thoughts. Now, let me get into what he's actually in the news for, and we're going to use his words, not mine.
I'm glad to be here voluntarily to testify to help with the committee's work. I'll start with an opening statement in the hearing room. I hope my testimony is helpful to the important work of the committee to find justice for the victims. Thank you.
Did Epstein ever introduce you to any women? Do you regret your friendship with Jeffrey Epstein?
Bill Gates, he is hiding something. He is definitely hiding something. One cannot forget his associations with the big man himself. And the big man is Jeffrey Epstein. It's crazy to think that one of the wealthiest people on earth at one time, he's currently not, but well, technically he is still one of the wealthiest people on earth. He's not just the wealthiest, like number one, but he is still very wealthy. It's crazy to think that one of the wealthiest people on earth got somehow swindled by a known trafficker with a background involving some heinous crimes against vulnerable groups of people. It's crazy to think that someone like him, someone who had a parent that was a lawyer, someone who went to Harvard, someone who, by all means, was engaged in philanthropy. You would have thought that somebody like him wouldn't be associated with someone like Jeffrey Epstein, especially since he's one of the wealthiest people in the world, which kind of does make you think. But hey, there's something there. So when I say that he is hiding something, I'm just not saying that for no reason. There is something that's being hidden. And it kind of gets exposed a little bit sometimes whenever he talks. And I have a good example. This video about when he was talking about Jeffrey Epstein's death.
It was reported at that time that you had a number of meetings with Jeffrey Epstein, who, when you met him 10 years ago, he was convicted of soliciting prostitution from minors. What did you know about him when you were meeting with him, as you've said yourself, in the hopes of raising money?
You know, I had dinners with him. I regret doing that. He had relationships with people he said, you know, would give to global health, which is a interest I have. You know, not nearly enough philanthropy goes in that direction. You know, those meetings were a mistake. They didn't result in what he purported, and I cut them off. You know, that goes back a long time ago now. So there's nothing new on that.
It was reported that you continue to meet with him over several years, and that, in other words, a number of meetings. What did you do when you found out about his background?
Well, and, you know, I've said I regretted having those dinners, and there's absolutely nothing new on that.
Is there a lesson for you, for anyone else looking at this?
Well, he's dead, so you know, in general, you always have to be careful. And I'm very proud of what we've done in philanthropy. Very proud of the work of the foundation. You know, that's what I get up every day and focus on.
Bill Gates wasn't always liked. Actually, there was a point in time that Bill Gates was actually pretty hated by various groups of people in tech, activists, anarchists, and so on and so on. He did screw over a lot of people. I mean, he took the invention from Apple to create a desktop computer after Steve Jobs demoed it from his company. So there's a lot of people out there that have grievances toward Bill Gates. And something interesting that you would have thought to yourself might have changed how he moved throughout his life, but it turns out it didn't. But before the turn of the last century, around 1998, Bill Gates was going to meet with government officials in Belgium. And on the way there, a known Belgian prankster threw multiple pies in the face of Bill Gates. This was a very humiliating experience for Bill Gates. You can just tell. Before I go on about the experience, the guy who pied him, his name was Noel Goudin. He's actually an interesting guy. Like, he's an anarchist, but he doesn't use violence. He just does pranks, and he tries to make sure not to hurt anybody. It's kind of interesting when you think about it. And that he was the one who threw a pie at Bill Gates' face. And you can go on YouTube. That that is, yeah, that is cemented in internet legacy. Yeah, but about the humiliating experience, you would have thought that having a pie thrown at your face, and mind you, Bill Gates is a billionaire. You would have thought that having a pie thrown at your face would have changed how you moved accordingly, where you wouldn't associate with a known trafficker. But unfortunately, that is not the case. That is not the case for Mr. Gates, Mr. Windows. That didn't change him. That didn't change his decision making. It's crazy, pretty interesting when you think about it. Yeah, but before I show you the video of him getting pied in the face, I wonder if it was tasty. I want to show you a little video about the guy who was actually responsible for it and let you hear what he has to say about how he views things.
This is the man the French call the cake terrorist. And the latest focus for his sticky campaign is none other than Pope John Paul II. As far as Noel Godin is concerned, the Pope is a dangerous criminal who refuses to endorse the use of condoms. And he wants the church in France to get the message. His visit to Nantes Cathedral on Sunday underlined the point. Godin used his favorite weapon on an unsuspecting priest. This was meant to be one in the eye for all the priesthood, not just one. It's precisely this custard pie treatment which Godin dreams of inflicting on the pontiff.
Vont conjuguer leurs forces.
He claims to have forces across Europe waiting to pounce on His Holiness, whom he calls the King of Fools. French President Jacques Chirac and Prime Minister Alain Juppé, who've been blamed for high unemployment, are next on Godin's blacklist.
Sur la liste noire,
He's planning the right moment to catch Chirac and Juppé off guard with his slapstick form of attack inspired by the French surrealists.
Pour essayer de les surprendre.
Success would simply add two more famous names to the list of those who've come face to face with custard pie anarchy.
Let's check out that video of Bill Gates getting pied.
The target was Microsoft Chairman Bill Gates arriving for a meeting with community leaders. Watch what happens when a team of hitmen meet him first with a pie in the face. Gates was momentarily and understandably shaken, but he was not injured. The hit squad piled on with two more pies before one of them was wrestled to the ground and arrested. The others, for at least the moment, got away. Gates went inside, wiped his face clean, and made no comment. He then went ahead with his scheduled meeting. No word on the motive for this attack.
Something tells me that Bill Gates did learn something from that moment. Unfortunately, it wasn't the right reasons of not associating yourself with detestable people. No, from what he learned from that, he doesn't want to be humiliated like that again. He wants control. He wants power. He wants influence. And one thing for sure, seems like accountability and consequences is something that he doesn't have to deal with. Something that he's above it. Some might actually say that he jumps over accountability and consequences.
Is it true that you can leap over a chair from a standing position?
It depends on the size of the chair. I'll cheat a little bit.
Yes!
And they say nothing new is under the sun. Bill Gates, he's getting up there in terms of age. So there's a new wave of tech bros disrupting things, and not for the better. And what's interesting is that the next wave actually has some ties to Microsoft. So Microsoft has a partnership with OpenAI for their AI capabilities. And the CEO of OpenAI is Sam Altman. And similar to Bill Gates getting pied in the face, Sam Altman has been going through some backlash as well, but except this time, it's not just pies. It is not just pies being thrown in his face. This time, it's a little bit more extreme. Which, if you consider the current climate of AI affecting employment and also affecting people's health for the ones who live near data centers. This is something where people are already noticing the changes, noticing the effects, and expediting it, even accelerating everything. People don't want to pay the cost for something that other people will not pay the cost for, but will benefit from very greatly. So it makes sense why the reaction is like that. One question is, I wonder where it goes on from here. Well, we'll find out eventually. This is Music Tech Game. Thanks for dropping by my channel. If you enjoyed it, give me a like. If you want to follow more of my content, subscribe to get more notifications. And yes, thank you for dropping by. Take care.